Recent numbers from the National Cancer Institute and the Centers for Disease Control on who's getting cancer. The study involves 37 states and the District of Columbia. It says among men in 1999, the most recent year available, Washington, D.C. had the highest rate of cancer cases. Louisiana ranks 9th. Among women, Rhode Island has the highest cancer rate. Louisiana below the national average for women, 28th out of 38 states and D.C. We've got a cancer problem in Louisiana, but where it's worst and where it's not will just about floor you. You grow up accepting it as fact. Louisiana's petrochemical corridor is a cancer alley, sealing the fates of those who live nearby. The award-winning documentary Green was one of countless attempts to spell out the problem.
All they see is green, and you know what green is? M-O-N-E-Y.
But new numbers buck the conventional wisdom. The Cancer Institute says over a 25-year period, St. Bernard Parish had the highest cancer rate for white men in Louisiana. But where is Cancer Alley? Along the petrochemical corridor, West Baton Rouge Parish ranks 24th in cancer rates, Ascension 25, St. James Parish 35, St. Charles 46 out of 64 Louisiana parishes. Now think about this. St. John Parish is supposed to be a hotbed for cancer. Plants like Norco and other refineries belch out millions of pounds of toxins. Just breathing the air can kill you. Guess what? St. John is not in the top 50 parishes in Louisiana for cancer death rates. LSU's Dr. Vivian Chen is collecting the numbers for the national study.
Would you agree with the statement that Cancer Alley is a myth? It doesn't exist.
I would agree with that.
Dr. Chen says the big problem in Louisiana is lung cancer and smoking.
If we remove cigarette smoking from the population, we practically could reduce about 80 to 90% of lung cancer cases.
Lung cancer rates are dramatically higher for men in Louisiana. That may be because men work in the plants. The problem with that theory, it fails to explain why lung cancer rates are higher in Monroe than in the chemical corridor. Not everybody buys the numbers. Critics question whether death certificates accurately spell out how a patient died.
Physicians and nurses have told us that the cause of death is not always put as cancer. It might be respiratory failure or heart failure.
Environmentalist Lee Orr argues there are clusters of extremely rare cancers that show up in the neighborhood around a chemical plant, but that don't find their way into a parish-wide study.
I hear from the patients, I hear from the man who came here whose part of his face is gone because he had cancer, or from my 3 women friends who have breast cancer, or my son's very good friend who had an inoperable brainstem tumor. Yes, I mean, they're not just numbers on a piece of paper.
Even if the study is accurate, it does not mean that given a choice, you'd move your family next door to a chemical plant. It says nothing about the risk of explosion or about the escalating rate of asthma in children. Blame that on the chemical plant, but maybe not on Cancer Alley.
Cancer is actually not just a fate. Individually, we all had somewhat a control over our risk of getting disease.
Here's more on Louisiana's big problem with lung cancer. The lung cancer rate for white men in Louisiana is 42% above the national average. This for 1999. For African American men, 22%. And several Louisiana parishes are way up there nationally in death rates from cancer, from 70 through 94. These are people actually dying. Alpine County, California had the highest cancer death rate for men, white men. St. Bernard Parish, 14th nationally, St. Helena 22nd, and Plaquemines 35th across the country. So it's certainly, nobody's saying it's not a problem.
Right.
It's just where it's showing up might surprise you.
It's interesting. We've been conditioned so long to say Cancer Alley without really knowing the numbers behind it.
And the cancer rates are actually higher in Orleans, Jefferson, Plaquemines, St. Bernard than in the river parishes.
All right.